everyone, this is Marcia, and this video is going to just quickly go over some tips for working with dyed reed. The next step in our basket, after you've done your 5 rows of 1/4 inch flat flat, is to do this really neat weave called a 3-rod wale. And to do that, you're going to be using your colored reed and your natural reed, number 2 round, the really thin round reed again. And you'll find that in 2 bundles. You have one bundle with both the natural and the black that is short pieces. That's for this top braid that we're going to be doing. What you're looking for here is the loop together longer pieces. You have 6 pieces of natural and 6 pieces of your color. For this next step, you're going to need 3 of each, 3 pieces of natural, 3 pieces of color. But once again, let me tell you just a little bit about dyed reed. First of all, just a reminder that you probably want darker clothes, just in case there's any splashing, or if you're working and sitting at a table and there's any water that comes down, moisture from the reed that has the dye in it. When you soak your reed, we'll be soaking this number 2 round reed, both the natural and the dyed reed, for at least 2 minutes. You need at least 2 minutes. Now the natural you can take right out of the water and start using right away, but I've learned the hard way that the way you ensure that the color doesn't bleed onto the natural and start to discolor it is that, first of all, you want to soak them in separate containers. So don't put your colored reed in with your natural reed. Have 2 separate, either 2 separate soakings or 2 separate containers to soak them. If you're using a sink and it's stainless steel and it's a double sink, you can put 1 on each side. I don't recommend that you put dyed reed in a porcelain sink because, again, the dye may get picked up by the porcelain. So anyway, soak each, the dyed and the natural, in your 2 containers or your 2 separate areas. And then when we take the dyed reed out, what we want to do is use an old towel or a cloth, or you can even use a paper towel, and you're going to wipe it all the way from the one end to the other, all the way down the length of it, and do it twice. And with that, you will have wiped off the dye that's moisture dye that's on the outside, and it generally does not bleed. You can see here, again, it's a very stark difference in color with the natural and the dark, but it didn't bleed onto the natural because I wiped it each time. So every time you use a colored reed, you're going to need to wipe it down first. After you soak it first, then wipe it down, and then use it. A couple other things is the cloth that you wipe it with should be something old that you don't care about. You can use a paper towel, that's fine. You can use an old cloth that doesn't have grease or anything on it, furniture polish. You want a clean old cloth. And I usually use a towel because that just works best. Old towel, that's a dark color. It doesn't really matter if I'm not going to use it anymore. It could also be any color I wanted. You may also notice that you get some of the color on your hands. And don't first of all, we're not going anywhere right now, so my hands aren't great anyway, but I'm not going to worry too much about if I have a little bit of color on my hands. However, by the time you've washed them a couple of times in soap, you usually can't see that dye anymore. So it's not a permanent thing, it won't permanently stain your hands. You just may notice it while you're working with the dyed reed. You may also want to put a towel under, if you're working on a table, under the basket while you're working on it. I didn't like for you to do that when you were actually laying out the base because it can make it not flat. But now that your basket's already got the flat base, you can put this under to protect the table and your clothing, and that's absolutely fine too. Not the one that you wipe the reed with, but a different towel. Let's see if there's anything else I need to tell you about. Okay, so that's pretty much it. The next video is going to be about doing the 3-rod wale, which is a really dramatic and fun weave. We only do it 1 row here and 1 row at the top, and then we'll be doing twining again, although this time instead of on a flat base, it's up the side. So that's what's coming up, and you'll see the 3-rod wale instruction in the next video.